Good morning, Tony Datino here with you with my Memorial Day Live with Tony. And as I had a chance to sit on Cocoa Beach yesterday under the pier, catching up on my reading, it just continues to amaze me that the science world is finally catching up to what humans will know just based on their life experience. For example, I was reading an article on the importance and the value of being in nature and defining nature being in greenery, smelling the smells of a forest or a walk, a pond, being by water, so walking along the ocean, which was perfect for me yesterday because I'm at Cocoa Beach and walking along the ocean to smell the salt water and the air of the waves coming in, and just what smells that I was getting, the sand, people cooking some food, and so the sounds of music, and different blankets of what people's music they were playing, conversations. And so the science article I was reading was saying it's important that we get out to nature. We get out to the coast and we get into water. We get into a forest. We go and find a pathway. We live in a city, looking at the architecture, even taking walks and admiring the different architecture. And who of us have not taken those walks and not realized that it has benefits for us? It's beneficial to our overall stress levels, our mental health. How many of us have said at the end of the day, I'm just a little bit tired or stressed and had a tough day, I just need to go out and take a 10-minute walk and go look at some flowers or plants or trees or even seeing some other people. And so it brought me to a second article, which is the importance of social interaction. And they're finding more and more research that is supporting the fact that when people feel lonely or they feel that they're being isolated in some way to where they're alone, it's got detrimental impacts on our mental fitness, and especially our memories and our life expectancy. And how many of us have not had the chance to get about, meet an old friend or meet a neighbor and just have a spontaneous conversation about what they're doing, what the family may be doing, how the parents may be, how their work is coming out, and just engage in just a wonderful conversation. As we were at the pool this morning, and a neighbor came along and talked about a new job, a new position in her company that she was being given to, and we started talking about the different elements of her job and the things that she's trying to do as a leader and the inspiration that she's got and the difference she's trying to make. And before you know it, we were in a 15-minute conversation, and it was just like, wow, it's a feel-good conversation for the four of us that were a part of it. And so I don't know that we need, my point is, I don't know that we need science reports to tell us the things we've experienced in our lives that give us an uplifting, beneficial feeling. Though I guess in some of us, it's great to have a science report, somebody telling us, you know what, it's a good thing. It's something that we should be doing. And so how do we do this in our lives? What are the foods that maybe we need more help on foods, nutrition, the Tufts newsletter, having things about the foods we should be eating. But my point is, having some of these articles may be reassuring for most of us to at least say, gee, that which I've been doing has got some background to it and it makes some sense. So therefore, hopefully, it reinforces the behaviors and the activities and the actions that we're partaking in to the point where we sustain it and we continue it because we have somebody telling us that which we have experienced that made us feel good now has some science behind it, which therefore says, you know what, we should continue to do it. And if that's what it does, then it's a benefit, and then it's a good thing for us to be having those types of reading assignments or reading those kinds of reports. Now, the big question becomes how many of us need that and how many of us are reading and taking the time to read anymore since the advent of iPhones and apps and phone conversations and Zooms and things of that sort, how many of us take the time to read? So I piled up some of my reading material on our way before we left for the beach and sat in the chair underneath the pier so I didn't get lots of sun, because we know that too much sun now, is not good for us. So there's another lesson that impacts our physical health. And years ago, vitamin D and getting out into the sun was a good thing. So hey, get out in the sun and play. And today it's, wait a minute. So there's a case where the science has reverted what our behaviors were, and now we need to be more sensitive. Though I will tell you, based on the people I saw on the beach yesterday, there are a lot of people not reading the science, or not being afraid of getting a little bit red on their skin, and appreciating the damage. So I guess there's this balance of when is science good for us and when is it not, and what do we believe and how do we act on those beliefs. And my whole point of the Memory Championship was to get people to realize that independent of the science, there are things you can learn to improve your memory. And the mental athletes for 25 years have proven that those that have decided that they want to take a chance and practice some skills and some mnemonics and some methods of improving their memory can make a difference in how they remember people's names, how they remember reading materials that they may need for their job, how they remember things that they may to do on their to-do list. And that these skills can be permanent and continue to make a difference in people's professions and people's lives of what they're accomplishing and what they're attempting to do. And so as I was reading these articles about nature, and the one here about asking, for help when you think you might be losing your memory and your thinking skills, and how your memory impacts your creativity, and how remembering things that are important to you in your work, or things that you need to do in terms of maybe medications, how you can develop a better memory and applying some of the systems and skills and mnemonics that we utilize in the USA Memory Championship. And so the social interaction is one. So exercise, God, my goodness, do we need to read any more science? Does anybody need to do any more study about exercise? Though I did read an article that says, well, how much exercise is good, and at what pace do you need to go, and for what duration? And I just say, look, just get out and walk for 10 minutes. Get out and walk for 5 minutes. And so some of the readings that I'm doing are suggesting, even 5 minutes after dinner is a good thing for you for a whole lot of reasons. And so do we need to have a lot of science that's doing research on this to tell us the things that, if we reflect back on, at least in my age group, things that we did that mom and dad told us were good for us? Eating nutritional foods and not eating too much candy or not getting too much sugars. I mean, how much sugar is bad, and processed sugars that we get, and eating too much fat in terms of the foods that we eat. So the science today is confirming what mom and dad taught me years ago about getting out and playing, and getting out and walking, and getting out, taking the dog for a walk, or getting out and playing some baseball, or going out and playing basketball, whatever physical activities, they were good for you. And you played them and you enjoyed them, and even taking a walk and swimming. And during the summer, you just get out in the pool and learn how to swim. And how many kids that we see here in the pool in our community that are learning to swim, that parents realize these are good things for us, getting out and doing some exercise, lifting and having some flexibility. Help us with our falls, our hips, our knees, our ankles, our shoulders and neck, all becoming more and more obvious to us. And so what I encourage people to do and to say is just realize there are some things that you can do that can make a difference in your life, in terms of your mental health, in terms of your physical health. And you don't always have to read science reports to be able to figure this stuff out. And today is Memorial Day, and I am going to be heading off to the Memory Institute. The people that are attending that wanted to have a session today, did not want to take a day off. So I'll be heading off in a few minutes to the Monday edition of the Memory Institute at the YMCA and Dr. Phillips. may you have a nice holiday today, and may you respect the people that you have lost in your life that we want to stop and remember, which I have got several. And we'll pick it up again on Wednesday.